Today I'm visiting a hidden ancient village deep in the mountains of southern Zhejiang, China, called Wanyao Village, tucked beneath Mount Yucang and next to the Juxi Grand Canyon. Getting here is surprisingly easy. From the nearby county town of Ningxi, the bus ride costs only 5 yuan, less than $1. As the bus leaves town, the urban scenery slowly turns into endless green mountains. After about an hour, we arrive at the destination, cross the bridge, past the entrance, and walk a little further along the road, and you reach the foot of the village. The entire village is built along the mountainside and still preserves 327 traditional houses made of wood and stone from the early Qing dynasty. The houses cascade down the slope in layers, forming what historians call a mountain kill village settlement. This village was once famous for producing ceramic bowls. For centuries, it was one of the most important blue and white porcelain production areas in southern Zhejiang. As early as the Hongwu period of the Ming dynasty, migrants from southern Fujian moved here, bringing advanced ceramic techniques with them. With water from the Zhejiang River and high-quality local kaolin clay, the village gradually became a major porcelain center in the region. During the peak of the Qing dynasty, the village had 18 dragon kilns, long, traditional climbing kilns built along the hillside, and more than 30 water-powered pounding mills used in porcelain production. Almost every household was involved in pottery making. Their products were sold across nearby provinces and even exported to Southeast Asia through river trade routes. But that prosperity is now part of history. With industrialization, traditional handmade porcelain gradually disappeared and the village began transforming into a tourist destination. In the 1990s, the last dragon kiln in the village was extinguished, ending a ceramic tradition that had lasted for over 6 centuries. Most young people have moved away to find work in the cities. Walking through the village, you can see many empty houses, a clear sign of rural depopulation. Many of the old homes have been abandoned for years. The buildings that are still open are mostly small shops, like this one, selling porcelain souvenirs, although I suspect many of these pieces are probably mass-produced elsewhere. The two most famous sites in Wanyao are the ancient dragon kiln and the 3-step waterfall. This dragon kiln was built during the Kangxi period of the Qing dynasty. It stretches about 40 meters along the hillside, shaped like a long dragon resting on the mountain. You can still see burn marks on the kiln walls from centuries of firing ceramics. It was used until the 1990s, and today it is occasionally fired again for demonstration purposes. The village also has an ancient opera stage built during the Tongzi era of the Qing dynasty. It is constructed entirely with traditional wooden joinery, without a single metal nail. The octagonal ceiling still preserves painted decorations from old opera performances. After successfully firing a batch of ceramics, kiln workers would gather here to watch traditional opera and celebrate together. It used to be the liveliest place in the village. This cactus is said to be over 100 years old. Honestly, I have no idea why there's a cactus growing in the middle of a humid mountain village. Climb a little higher to the wooden walkway on the hillside, and you get a panoramic view of the entire village. Dark tiled rooftops spread across the mountain slope, while the Zhejiang River winds around the village like a green ribbon. From here, you can clearly see the remains of the old dragon kiln. The village blends into the surrounding landscape almost perfectly, like a living, traditional Chinese painting. Following the trail further leads to the three-step waterfall, which originates from the main peak of Mount Yukang and drops nearly 100 meters in total. During the rainy season, it becomes powerful and dramatic. Unfortunately, I came during the dry season, so the waterfall is barely visible. Still, the natural environment here is quite pleasant. Another interesting detail, along the wooden walkway, there are loudspeakers placed every short distance, constantly reminding visitors about forest fire prevention. They repeat the message non-stop, which honestly gets a little annoying. Even more surprising, there is actually Wi-Fi coverage here in the middle of the mountains. There's also a small museum inside one of the old houses. The exhibits themselves are fairly simple, but the building is quite beautiful. Many villagers here are descendants of migrants from southern Fujian, and they brought their religious traditions with them. As a result, you can see small temples scattered throughout the village. And that's it for today's exploration. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you enjoy discovering hidden places in China that most YouTubers never visit.